Did you ever wonder why the world's first modern looping on Six Flags Magic Mountain's Revolution roller coaster has that beautiful but weird truss design instead of outward beams or box supports? Let's dive into how it happened, the people behind the looping, and why t-shirts played a role in all of this. Going upside down on a roller coaster has been tried as early as 1846, when French engineer, and I'm gonna butcher the name here, Clavier, built his chemin du centrifuge. After this exciting event, soon more looping coasters opened around the world. This picture is marketing a looping roller coaster in London around 1850. Edwin Prescott and Edward A. Green both filed patents in 1901 in the US, and Lena Beecher operated the Flip Flap at Coney Island, New York around 1904. But all those rides would later share the same fate. If they didn't close on their own, local government would soon shut them down because of serious health dangers for the riders. They'd leave with a contorted neck, compressed spine, or worse. So the enthusiasm for the so-called torture circles ceased and they disappeared. In the 1950s, one showman at Vienna's Prater tried to resurrect the concept of going upside down. German showman Hilmar Grobengießer even built a traveling double loop in 1952. Once more, the special ride element was nothing more than a new version of the old torture circles. Some riders even formed the Verein der Looping-Geschädigten, or Club of Looping Victims. So in 1954, Grobengießer's looping was closed. "20 years later, and roller coasters and theme parks are booming in the United States, and going upside down was becoming a hot topic again. In 1974, the park Magic Mountain in California, now Six Flags Magic Mountain, asked German ride manufacturer Anton Schwarzkopf if he could build a rideable vertical looping. Anton Schwarzkopf consulted his most prolific engineer, then 38-year-old Werner Stengel, about the proposition. The problem with the vertical looping was, when riders entered the element and ascended, the riders would experience a sudden change in centrifugal force. But the speed was needed to make it through the element. By the way, there are great videos that go far more into the physics and math of loopings on YouTube, for example by Art of Engineering. So Werner Stengel needed to find a shape that would allow a larger radius at the bottom to reduce forces and a tighter radius at the top to keep forces high enough so riders would still be pressed into their seats. Also, he would need to be able to calculate all the math behind this geometrical shape without the help of modern computers. He spent hours browsing through books and trying to remember everything he knew of shapes with changing radius. Nobody knows when and where it finally hit him, but it might just have been on the Autobahn A93 between Holledau and Regensburg in Germany. He noticed that driving his car at a constant speed and turning the steering wheel constantly into one direction was him driving the shape of a clothoid. That was the solution. He mirrored the ascending graph of a clothoid at the highest point and thus found the solution to a 100-year-old problem and turned the torture circles into a rideable vertical looping. But the American clients didn't necessarily trust the calculations just on paper. They wanted solid proof that the looping would be rideable before continuing with the project. So in fall of 1975, Anton Schwarzkopf constructed lift hill, drop, looping and brakes at the Schwarzkopf's factory premises. When empty trains and trains with test dummies cleared the loop without problems, Anton Schwarzkopf himself got onto the train. As always, he would be the first person to test a new ride. Onlookers hold their breath as he zoomed through the looping. He exited the ride with a big smile on his face, and they knew they had done it. The G-forces were also measured by the German TÜV, and they too gave thumbs up. Without any doubt, the age of the vertical looping had begun. But why the truss framework on the Revolution's looping? Legend has it that early in development Werner Stengel suggested to build the loop in the supposedly much more cost-efficient box track design, while Anton Schwarzkopf doubted that it would make any difference. While working on the project, it became clear that Stengel was right again, and the box track design would have been a more cost-efficient way. But the marketing campaign for the ride was already at full throttle.
Was not meant to do that!
and thousands of t-shirts with the truss design had already been printed, so a change of the design of the looping was beyond debate. That's how in the end some t-shirts were the reason the first modern rideable vertical looping looks the way it does.
Begin to chatter, makes your throat begin to cough. Magic Mountain's revolution, it'll knock your socks flat off.